everyone, welcome back to the Full Circle podcast. Today I'm joined with a good friend of mine, Connah O'Neill. Connah is currently a Part 1 architecture assistant at A2 Architects in Liverpool. So, welcome, Connah. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't wait to get started.
Been taking a chill on the weekend.
Yeah, it's been nice. Nice little walk around the park and hopefully get out of lockdown, go for a pint. But yeah.
I saw
doing
that
well.
you were at the docks here before.
Yeah. I mean, it was just by the water. I live quite close to the water, so I was just
Yeah, I was thinking,
nice and relaxing.
hope he makes his podcast time.
I ran back. Don't worry. I ran back.
Yeah. So yeah, me and Connah both went to Liverpool John Moores together, and how did you find John Moores, Connah?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, the amount of people that I met there. I mean, I'm sure you're the same. Like, you get a variety of people who are just so interesting, and they all have different ideas, and it's I love it. It was boss.
His boss.
Yeah, I learnt loads as well. It's boss. You can tell I'm Scots, can't you? Yeah.
So did you go to college in Liverpool as well?
Yeah, so I went to the City of Liverpool College to do my foundation diploma before I went to uni. So I initially I did my A levels, and didn't do very well. So I did art, sociology, and RS.
Oh yeah.
And then I failed RS and I failed sociology, and then I got a B in art, which I was happy with, and then that took me to my foundation diploma then because I thought, well, I can't carry on anymore. But to be honest, it was perfect for me because it helped me loads. It's sort of the idea of running a project on your own just isn't there during an A level.
Yeah, definitely.
Like art sort of course, really. It's just it in foundation, you're sort of on your own, which is what it's like in uni, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how about you, but I know you did foundation as well. Like so.
Yeah, so I failed my levels too. I failed maths
so we're both in the same
and computer science, but I think I got a in
Hey!
graphics or something. So yeah, we're pretty much in the same boat. And I did the foundation year too. And I think that really prepared me for uni. But I remember when I actually first went to uni, it was for my graphic design interview for John Moores. And that's sort of how I started out at John Moores. I went for my graphics interview. I think I got.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I got in off. I don't even know what the system was when I applied, but I pretty much got in. Went to the graphic design interview, showed him my portfolio, and then the interviewer took me on a tour around the building. And we went into, and the Fab Lab was on the second floor. We went into there. She showed me these architecture models, that massive one in the big glass box that used to be in the studio.
Yeah, I know.
She showed me that, and I was like, oh my God, how do I do that? What do I do to get on that course? And she was like, oh, you need to do architecture. And I was like, oh, right. Can I change? And then literally she's just said,
she jumped ship.
You've got to cancel all of my applications to every uni that I applied to, and then just solely apply to John Moores. And then I didn't have any actual architecture interview. I pretty much just got straight in. So I don't really know how that worked in crossover, but yeah. Somehow I just got in.
Yeah, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
I thought you just went.
No. So did you have to?
I mean, for me, it was sort of like. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say what you're already answering.
I mean,
yeah. So did you?
Oh, sorry.
Did you? Did you have like an interview as well, or how did your process go of getting into uni?
So basically, I thought, well, in lower school, I wanted to be like an artist, basically, in very low school, so like year 7.
Yeah.
And then slowly just sort of thought, well, I like making things. I like, drawing. I like materials, and I really enjoyed doing DT as well. And then I thought, there's this thing called being an architect, basically, and you get to make the biggest things possible.
Yeah.
So that looks interesting. So I thought, well, I'm going to do that. And then I just sort of persisted with that. And then we did work experience in year 10. And I think I was someone came up to me and their husband was an architect, and said, "Oh, I know you want to do architecture. Do you want to do work experience in the office?"
Bloody
And
hell.
I did that for a week, and it was great. I was like, I mean, obviously, I had no idea about anything. I was like, wow, I didn't know how to use CAD or anything, obviously, but I was amazed by everything, like how you design, and so that sort of fueled everything really, and then yeah. So ever since then, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna go for. So I knew I wanted to go to John Moores as well because I was invited to the degree show. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
it was probably the same year. Same year, did my work experience with, but I was with Ian Mitchell, who teaches on graphic design, um,
Okay.
and I was looking at all these similar really. I was looking at all the models and going,
All the
wow, look
models,
at
yeah.
those, I want to do them, and all
That's
the
a selling point,
drawings and
isn't it,
like,
really?
wow, it was just yeah, the models sort of do it for me. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's cool, and yeah, I was captivated by it. So I thought that's definitely for me. So yeah, ever since then, that's been it. That's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
So here we are.
And that was in
Yeah,
year 10, was it? That work experience.
year 10. Yeah, yeah. So a long time ago, but yeah. So I wanted to do for a while, and yeah, still going with it. So
And then, so when you came in on your sort of first day, is that how you expected it would be when you were in sort of year 10 in your work experience, starting your university degree?
um, I was sort of. I mean, it was weird because I kind of prepped myself for it already, really. So I felt like, oh, I know all this. I know,
Mm.
and then it didn't, obviously, because you never really you never really experienced enough for uni. I think,
Mm.
especially the first day. I thought it was great, but it was just a lot of things happen at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was sort of it was a bit overwhelming, but also very exciting at the same time. So that's what was
It
quite
was
interesting about it, I
a
think.
really weird
Yeah,
feeling. And the sort of, I just remember the
yeah,
icebreakers. The icebreakers were terrible. Having to say like your name
yeah.
and where you
I
come
don't even actually
from.
what did we do for them? Yeah, I remember them. Yeah,
We just went round in a circle, I
yeah. I
think,
think
and
we had
it
to draw
was,
people, didn't we? Have to,
oh yeah, yeah, that was it. Yeah, had to draw people and
yeah,
then say what
yeah,
your interest
yeah,
in skill was, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I think I said something like I do
yeah. It was
longboarding or
bad. It
something
felt a
like
bit like an AA meeting. It was,
that. Yeah, it
yeah,
was so
I
bad.
remember. I remember drawing. I mean, we had to like draw each other and like without looking at them. And we had to just look at them and not look at a page. So the drawings just looked horrendous.
It was
But
so bad.
yeah, it was good though. I mean, yeah, we had a good time. So yeah.
How did you find your very first review in comparison to your first day? Was it the same sort of feeling?
Um, First day was completely different from the first review. I think the first project we did was called Anatomy of a Building,
Hmm.
and it was sort of a group project. So I was paired up with me and Josh, who I were good mates with, um, and we were given a house by Sana M House, and we had to basically analyze every aspect of this building, from like materials to plan sections,
Hmm.
every aspect, and it was crazy because there's so many. We start to realize there's so many aspects to a building that you
Yeah.
have to take into account to like
So much I didn't realize, isn't
symbolic
there?
things, and then yeah. So like for example, like in M House, there was a single tree in this courtyard, and we had no idea. We were like, why have they put a single tree? Why don't they have like 3 trees or 4 trees? Why just one? So eventually we're sort of just researching and then realizing, oh, it's a symbolic thing, in terms of
Yeah.
the context. So and then so it was looking at that kind of stuff, and then also looking at, well, why is it made out of corrugated steel, or why does it use these materials? So yeah, and then the first
It is
review
so crazy, isn't
for
it?
that project is just, yeah. I mean, I was terribly nervous for it. I think everyone is, because
Yeah.
I wasn't taught how to present my work ever really properly, and so I was terrified of shaking. I remember having like a bit of paper and then shaking it, and it was but we got through it eventually, and
Yeah.
I think we did okay. We'd made a nice model for it. It came out of the floor, so you could see inside. So, and we did okay drawings for it. But yeah, it was a good experience, and we took a lot from it and learned loads from it. So I think that's the main thing.
It was
Yeah.
so interesting that when I think mine was on PowerPoint before I even knew InDesign, and then you look back now and you think, oh my god, InDesign's like the
So is
holy
mine.
grail of architecture.
Yeah.
And it's like the group
Yeah.
project work as well, and you're like, you've never met this person before, and you've got to do a full project with them, and you're like, what the fuck's going on?
That's it.
It's so crazy,
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's like that's it. It's like yeah. That's another thing. Like it's a fundamental thing is
hmm,
working with other people.
yeah,
Because like maybe in lower school you're just on your own. There's maybe occasionally you're doing work together, but
yeah,
you know, it's a
you're literally
skill in
just on your
itself,
own,
isn't
yeah.
it? Being able to be nice with someone and work with them. It's yeah, a
I
whole
don't,
other thing.
I don't
Yeah.
think anything can really ever prepare you for that first initial. So when they're reading off the sheet and they call your name and you go stand up, and you're like, yeah. So this is my project,
Mm,
and you're sort of standing in front of this
yeah,
board, and you're like,
it's
yeah, this is
it's
this, this is this, and you're literally trying to rush through it just to get back to your seat and sit down. And I think gradually though it does get easier.
that's exactly it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. I mean, like if someone videoed me on my first review
mm,
compared to like the final review
yeah,
before COVID, obviously, then you'd see a dramatic difference. Just because I think if you just do something over and over again, you just get used to it, and you
mm,
get more confident in it, and there's tips and tricks that you sort of you know what to do, and
yeah, yeah.
that's it, isn't it? Just keep doing it, and then you get better at it. So yeah.
Did you ever sort of have like a breakthrough moment where the sort of penny just dropped for you, and it was the sort of world of architecture came a lot clearer, and you sort of felt like you know what you were doing?
Um, I didn't know what I was doing at all, but I think rather than rather than lots of, rather than sort of one thing like or one day where there was this sort of like big shine of light on me, I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
It was sort of like lots of little things, I would say,
Hmm.
uh, um, throughout the whole experience. I think because there's little, I don't know, even like down to like commands that you'd learn on the software,
Yeah.
or just little things that would just help you, and you go, and it just bumps you up, and then you think, oh, that's really helped me, and now because I know that, I can do all these other things. So it's sort of, I wouldn't say there was just one big sort of breakthrough moment that I had. It was more
Hmm.
just loads of tiny bits
It's
that
almost like
added together to make one thing.
that path of consistency, isn't it, in a way, to get towards that bigger goal.
Absolutely.
Do you find that you're
Mm,
still on a learning
definitely
curve
agree.
now?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think everyone, even, fully qualified architects who, or architects, they're still learning stuff.
Yeah.
You don't stop learning stuff, do you? You keep learning
Yeah, I
until
think
you're dead.
yeah.
Sorry to be macabre, but
Yeah,
yeah,
if you literally just finished uni,
I
like,
think
yeah,
that's the way it is.
I'm done now, guys. I'm done. I'm going
I'm
home
done now. I know
now.
everything. That's not the way it is. You
Yeah.
keep going. You keep learning things and adding to it. So
So
yeah,
then,
I think
in that respect, then
that's the way it is.
in sort of say first year, third year, talking about reviews and everything, do you have any sort of tips and sort of tricks that you'd like to pass down to people who are in university now, who are currently maybe getting ready to present, or getting ready to show off their final work? Do you have any tips for them, for those people?
For people who are studying architecture, or for people who are thinking about doing architecture,
Both.
or both.
Say, but imagine,
Both.
so
Okay.
you've got
So
one
for
going in.
people,
You got one going in,
right?
and
Yeah.
then third year.
Yeah. One coming out. Yeah. Yeah. So for people who are going or thinking about doing architecture, I would say, I mean, I don't know if this because it's a personal experience, but I would say don't be put down by people who are saying, "Oh, you have to know about maths and you have
Yeah,
to be like a mathematician to be an architect or to study architecture," because really, I think that's come from a dated view of what architecture is.
yeah,
The majority of things are done quite like that now. We use computers all the time to make crazy um, sums and do things
That is
for
quite a
us that
big
we
one,
didn't
isn't
have
it?
to do. Yeah, it's. I just think especially people who struggle with maths. I mean, I personally do.
Hmm.
And obviously I can count and I can obviously, but it's sort of the it's it's the idea that you have to be amazing, you have to be almost Einstein level
Yeah.
to do this. I mean, you don't. It's not true. And then people who are have come out of uni right now, or still in the final year, I would say
Hmm.
time management is a big one. I think.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
massive as
I
well.
think that was yeah. I just think that's if you got that sorted, you're on your way. I think, and
Hmm.
it's not everything, but it's a lot of it. I think just starting stuff at the right time, getting stuff done early. It's like it's just helps you out so much. Like, and then you have to do all nighters, which are
Oh
horrible.
yeah, yeah, they're
I've
so
only
bad.
ever done one all nighter, and it was the worst thing in the world. So yeah, I mean, I don't know whether
Connor
have you done
O'Neill's
any all
worst
nighters?
day was yeah, I've done in the last few weeks of uni, Jesus, I did so many for that final project and it
Oh
just
yeah,
killed me
yeah,
off. I remember picking
yeah,
up like a kebab takeaway, taking
yeah.
it to the library and just eating it inside one of them little study rooms, like trying to do my final InDesign document. And I was like, why am I doing this at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Oh
It was the worst.
God, yeah.
And in a way though, like with our cohort, when everyone was there at say midnight, printing off their stuff and whatnot,
Hmm.
it almost that sort of mentality to print at that time kind of encouraged everyone else to print at that time, didn't it? I think. And I think in general, if everyone was
Yeah,
more
absolutely. Yeah,
organized, then we wouldn't all be printing at midnight and say 3 a.m. in the morning. But
yeah,
that's just
yeah.
a weird thing
But
about
that's it.
studio,
I
isn't it?
mean, yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's another world, really.
Do you think
Yeah.
if you were to go back, you'd do anything differently at university, or anything you'd like to sort of focus more on?
I would probably say, I mean, I wouldn't change it really
Hmm.
because I've enjoyed it all, even when it was interrupted. But I think just skills wise, I think there'd be things I wish I'd done more of, or I wish I made more models, or I don't know, explore different areas, or different
Hmm.
topics. Um, it just yeah, sort of a few general things really, just software, um, just learning more CAD as well. I think is a
What
big
software are
one.
you working with
Yeah.
now?
So at the moment, at A2, we're just using AutoCAD, SketchUp, Revit, and then we're just starting to learn V-Ray really for renders and nice
Yeah,
images.
V-Ray is
So
pretty good, isn't it, for renders and whatnot?
yeah,
And then
yeah. Which I personally don't know, but I'm being taught up now. So going back to you never stop learning, that's it.
it's I think if I was to go back, I'd probably do more detailing because I mean, obviously, we missed out on
That's a big one. Yeah,
the structural engineer thing, didn't we? When before COVID, we were meant to
we
have
did.
that
Yeah,
detail sessions, weren't we? And then we completely missed out because of COVID. But yeah, I think I'd like to do a lot
yeah,
more detailing.
yeah. I mean, that's COVID's fault, really. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Detail. Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, it just understanding construction in general,
Hmm.
and like I think it's been said loads in uni, like how messy construction is. Like it's not perfect lines, and there's definitely a gap between that, and drawing something perfectly and then seeing it like being like mushed together, and like that goes on there and that does that, you know.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know that.
it's
Yeah,
mad,
just
isn't it?
that little bridge. Yeah, I think that could have been explored more. Definitely.
So sort of, I
Yeah.
mentioned previously at the start of the video that you're currently working at A2. Are you
Hmm.
sort of how are you finding your part one?
It's great. Yeah. I'm lucky enough that I'm in quite a small practice,
Hmm.
um, because I think I get more attention, which sounds really selfish, but um,
Connor, Connor,
but I
Connor,
think
Connor.
that you know Yeah, it's all about me. It's all about me. But it's if you know what I mean, like it's sort of
Yeah, yeah,
you get you get more help with things. You're talking to people. It's yeah, it's really good. We're having a great time, and I've learned tons. I mean, tons of stuff that
mm,
in a few weeks, which you have to really push for when you're in uni.
yeah,
To learn stuff, obviously, because it's you're doing it on your own.
mm,
But when you're in it and you're in the real world of architecture, it's
yeah,
happening around you. So you can't stop it really. You're sort of absorbing it without knowing as well.
yeah.
So it's really valuable. Yeah.
Is it everything that you sort of imagined it to be? Because I mean, I remember in uni when our tutors would joke like, "Oh, you're just going to go into practice and do door schedules and stuff like that." Are you glad that it's not?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad it's not. I haven't touched any door schedules, and I haven't, detailed any toilets, which is lovely. I've been really, which I mean, I imagine in the future that's definitely going to happen. But,
Yeah.
um, that's right now. I'm having a really good time. Um, working on projects, from different scales, and master
Mm.
plan scale to sort of a house extension. So I'm learning about all these different, you know, sort of ways of thinking as well, design wise, and just how things work basically. Because I think we don't really know enough about that.
Yeah, and that
How would you talk to a client? If you have a problem,
yeah.
there's these things that we just aren't taught yet anyway. So
There's so many little
yeah,
intricate
it's going
things like
really
that,
good.
isn't there, that we just completely miss in uni, isn't there?
Mm,
Do you think what
absolutely, yeah.
if you could take one thing from university and put it into practice, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I would say more visits to practices. So some
Mm.
sort of not a trip, but almost like if we all had sort of time where we literally just worked, excuse me, worked as a part one for a week
Yeah,
during uni and see
yeah.
what's actually going on. Basically, so I know other courses do that in second year.
Mm.
So you do your year out and then you go back for your third year, which is
Oh
quite
yeah, like a
interesting.
sandwich year, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, so similar to that, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think definitely um, just in general, because there's so many things that are happening. Really, it's quite tricky to just say one thing, but like just experience in a practice,
Mm.
and that sort of gap, because I think there is a bit of a gap between, um, you know, finishing uni and then looking for a job, and then you're in a practice. There's that sort of distance. Really, it's like it's a different realm. But
Do you think
yeah.
that gap is a like sort of a big problem at the moment in the industry?
Um, I would say so. Yeah. I think because I mean, I can only sort of talk about my own experience. Obviously, I don't know
Mm.
about anyone else, but I think when I start on my first day, I was like, wow, it's completely
You're
different
like,
to what I
whoa.
expected it to be. Whoa, in a good way, obviously, and I was excited and I was intrigued by everything. Um, but it was also the idea of like, wow, it's completely different to what I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
like when I was in uni. I think that's just because we're not seeing it enough, or we're not being told what it's actually like right now.
Yeah, it's a good point
But yeah,
actually. Do you think this crash course in essence would sort of help bridge that gap if you did maybe 1 week or maybe even a month in practice?
yeah, I definitely think it would. I mean, because well, I know really because
Yeah.
being at practice right now, I've learnt loads. So it's like it is a bit like a crash course, but obviously it's a bit late. But
Mm,
it's 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 learning on the job, and but I just think maybe a taster of that
mm.
before you're thrown into the deep end would be good.
And it's
Um,
even stuff
but
like
yeah,
writing cover letters, how to do portfolios, how to do CVs. all these other little things, isn't it, that
Absolutely.
really matter. And then you've
Yeah.
obviously got everything that's
Yeah.
in
It's all these
practice
little
too.
skills.
So there's
Yeah.
loads of
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all these little bits really that that you have to know, and you sort of just teach yourself
Hmm.
eventually how to do it. But it'd be nice to have a little thing there to to step up onto to
Yeah.
to help you out. But yeah, but I think we did all right.
Yeah. I think.
So yeah.
And then, so you mentioned before that you wanted to be sort of artist and then architect. Do you think that's your sort of direct path now? Is you want to completely finish and become an architect? Is that your sort of end goal at the moment?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That's. I mean, that's kind of always been the goal, really, ever
Hmm.
since year 10, really. Yeah, just that's what I want to do. So and I just think, yeah, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you might as well.
it's a long way off, obviously, but it's yeah, that's definitely the path for me, without
So
sounding too
so then,
pretentious. But
who to keep you on this sort of on this goal? Should keep just checking this camera.
mm,
Seems to be glitching out. So to sort of keep you on this one path since year 10, you must have had some pretty big inspirations
mm.
to sort of help you on this sort of journey. Who are those sort of people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the big one I think that I found in foundation,
Hmm.
um, it was sort of brought up to me by my foundation teacher, and I was exploring all these different forms, and he sort of came up to me and said, "Have you heard of a guy called Thomas Heatherwick?" And I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
"No, who's that?" And then he sort of showed me an image of his cooling towers,
Hmm.
with these sort of beautiful origami, but they're functional as well. So there's this beautiful blend of like a human scale, materiality, and function. I thought, wow, why aren't buildings like that? Why? And then he
Yeah.
showed me that more projects. So he's a big one. So and then I think when I went to uni, I looked at sort of Peter Zumthor, which I know
Oh
you
yeah.
you look at as well. He's a big inspo. Yeah, he's but just met them two fellas, and they're both quite similar, where they sort of respect materials quite well,
Yeah.
and
They are very
the
similar.
craft. I think. Yeah, yeah. So I think that's my kind of area for it. I think. Yeah.
It's like Peter Zumthor's books are almost sort of poetic, aren't they? Well, I mean they are poetic in the way he talks about architecture. And it's
Yeah.
like I remember my first book I bought in uni was Thinking Architecture. And that when you first read that and you think,
Lovely.
Jesus, that's like it's a lifestyle, but then it's really capturing the pure poetic side of architecture, isn't it? But it's
Yeah, it
just
really is. Like, I mean, it's tricky to grasp. I think, isn't it? Like,
hmm,
what makes a space feel like a certain way. I think I don't know whether it's. I mean, I mix them up, but I mean, there's atmospheres as well, isn't there? Another
yeah.
book, and then
I think he's got one
um,
like Thinking
I
History
don't know,
or
I think there's
something
an
like that,
image
isn't
of
it?
yeah, and I think I don't know which book it's from, but there's like an image that he's got, and it's of like a like an old cafe, and people are smoking in there, and
Mm.
it's like it's like there's so much sort of atmosphere in it, and
In
like
that
what
one
makes it
image.
why does that look cozy? Why
Yeah.
does that why is another image or why does like a train station look depressing and sad to be in? But why is that an interesting space to be in? But it's nice the
Yeah.
way he explores into all them different things that make up a space. I think that's
And
it's cool.
I think in a way as well, he sort of sold the vision to me because I mean I remember when I was reading this part of his book where he says he's sitting on this ski lodge or something. And you think he's sitting with his wife and he's drinking this like coffee, and you can see all the snow on the
Mm.
mountaintops and everything, and it's like you can see all the details of this building, and you're thinking, bloody hell, that must be quite a nice life to have on a ski resort, looking at
Yeah,
buildings, sipping
it's not
coffee with
too
like
bad,
the
is it?
sun. I mean, geez, come on, like
Yeah,
Architecture
sounds
101, Peter
nice.
Zumthor
Nice
sold.
retirement. Yeah, yeah, that's it, isn't it? I mean, it's like, I mean, it's just like crafting life in a way without
Yeah,
sounding a bit
yeah, it
weird. But
is.
it's like you're making these like sets for life, isn't it? Like like a set designer, but for life
Yeah.
kind of thing. Just I don't know.
Do you think you
Yeah,
could see yourself
yeah,
working
he's
for one
doing
of them?
well.
Yeah, all something.
Yeah, I'd love that. I mean, it'd be great. I mean, I did apply to Hedwig Studio during COVID. Well,
Yeah.
now, and obviously just got a reply saying, "Oh, we're full capacity." So yeah, okay. But I mean, I do. I mean, I'm not ruling it out because I think you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? So yeah,
Mm.
I would love to. I'd love to work in either of the practices, obviously.
Yeah, they do some like really nice stuff, don't they? I don't know what the word is, like just stuff, isn't it? Like buildings, concepts. It all seems to be really purist and
Yeah,
really conceptually nice.
I think. Yeah, I mean, in terms of Hedwig Studio, I think because what's quite interesting about them, what they're interesting to me anyway, is that they don't just say right, we're architects. They just have this broad range of
Mm.
scales. So like one day they could be working on a perfume bottle, and then the next day they could be working on a master plan or you know like cold drops.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
there's
that's
so
what
much, isn't
interesting.
there?
Yeah, and then the idea that's, I mean, it's a similar thing that design, you know, it's all kind of the same thing, really. It's like you can design a coat, and so that means obviously you can design a building, which obviously it's a bit different, but the same principles are there. It's
Yeah.
yeah, that's a bold statement,
It's,
but yeah,
can
if
I
you
can
get what
I
I mean,
capture that with a tagline next to it for you?
you can
At the end of the
absolutely, yeah,
video, if you can
yeah.
design a coat, you can design a building.
Make sure you put it in black and white, yeah, and then just
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, if you look at the umbrella in general, like there are people who have left uni, well not uni, but left architecture and done these other topics, isn't there? Which just shows the
Yeah,
diversity in
absolutely. Like,
architecture of paths that you can go down.
absolutely. Yeah, it's because it's these skills. Like again, going back to foundation, it's like it's running a project.
Mm.
It's being able to design something that's good, and works,
Yeah,
and time management, all these little things, and then they're all the same sort of modules that you
yeah.
take through anything. So it sort of it works in all scales, I think. Yeah,
So I noticed
it's good.
before when we were talking that you taking 2 years out for practice.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I just think, yeah, the way the world is right now, it's a bit
Yeah,
crazy. So
going to masters
don't
all
know if you
online.
noticed. Don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard about this. Yeah, don't know if you heard about this COVID-19 thing, but
I think I might have been asleep.
yeah, I just think, yeah, I think it's just like the best. It's the best decision for me right now,
Yeah.
and I'm learning tons. I'm in it every day. I'm like, it's just helping me loads, and I just think, oh, this makes sense right now. It
Hmm.
just to do 2 years of this makes sense. So that's my reasoning behind it, really. But yeah,
I think you're definitely
I know
in
you're in
the
a
best
sort of
boat, aren't you?
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, um, just because it's just the best thing to do, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you're doing a
I am in
similar
a
thing,
yeah,
aren't you?
I'm in a
Yeah,
similar thing where I'm doing 2 years out to do well. I mean, I want to give this podcast a go, and I want to really
yeah.
retain all the information that I'm learning, and actually, so when I
Mm.
go back to masters, I'll be wanting to learn more. If that makes sense. I would have
Yeah,
felt like I've
yeah,
captured
I
part
agree.
one and then gone on to masters.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I think
that's what I think as well.
I think it'll definitely give a good foundation going on to masters to have this sort of experience of
Mm.
part one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just think because I mean, it's not to do another year. That's only
Hmm.
going to benefit me, I think.
Yeah,
Going to
definitely.
masters, uh, I think it's just more experience. It's more time on
Hmm.
the job, learning things. So I don't see anything wrong with that. So
Have you thought much
yeah,
about where you're going to apply for
right.
masters?
not at all.
No.
But I mean, to be honest, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm very. I mean, I couldn't predict this year, or sorry, last year, at
Mm.
all. So I'm just thinking, I don't know yet. I mean, maybe London, maybe I might go back to John Moores. I'm completely unsure at the moment, but yeah, I don't know. How
The
about
world's your
yourself?
oyster. I'm looking at a few
Yeah, that's
places.
it.
Westminster, Bartlett, MSA, all on my list. But I'm hoping that
Nice.
I want to start like doing a bit of animating as well. So I'll try and get that in like a digital portfolio format. Be seeing a few animations in this
Cool.
podcast actually with like social media links and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
I want to take time to sort of capture the craft and not rush into masters.
Mm.
If yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
why
that's right. I think. Yeah, I mean,
this.
because yeah, it's is your camera right?
I think it's just having a
Yeah,
moment
I
today. I
was just
don't know what's
gonna
going on with it. It's just not having it
say,
today.
I think yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with what you just said about the craft. Like
Hmm.
at the moment, I mean, suppose we're both in the same position. We're both early on. We're sort of in the first step of
Hmm.
becoming an architect. So it's a sensitive area. I think we have to really like absorb as much as we can right now because
Yeah.
it's building on this stuff in the
Yeah.
future, isn't it? So I think that's the way we have to think about it. But yeah, I think can't wait to do it. Really, yeah,
So were
good fun.
you? So what was your when you're sort of stressed in uni? This might go off on a bit of a tangent now, but I was just
Mm.
thinking back to a question you said before about sort of time management and whatnot. How do you say cope with that university stress?
Well, I don't. No. um,
Don't listen to me.
no. Just, yeah. I would definitely say, yeah. Again, like time management. That's. I mean, I normally what I used to do was I would sort of set up a timetable for myself,
Hmm.
so a visual sort of timetable, and I would stick it on my wall. If I knew I had a few deadlines,
Yeah.
I was just well, how do big companies do this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How and could I minimize that for myself? You know what I mean? And that's how I would get it done. So I'd normally just say, okay, I've got to get that done at that time, and I just work backwards and see where I need to be at what time, and then I normally hit it, and then occasionally it wouldn't go well, and then yeah, I'd have
Give me a
to do an
downward
all
spiral
nighter,
from
but
there.
that was only once. Yeah, and then just spiral. Yeah. It's yeah, but
Then
I
it's
think
to
that's a
the
big
pub.
part. Is yeah, oh, the pub. I miss the pub.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I just think time management. That's the top
Mm.
one. But yeah, how do you manage your stress? I mean, would you say it's
Just
being
keep working
organized
through it.
or
Um, it's a really
yeah,
weird one for
okay,
me. Like mine mostly came off the back of my tutorials and my reviews. So I'd do like a little sort of almost like a spreadsheet after every review of saying what do I need for the next tutorial, what
yeah,
do I need for the next review. I'd set dates next to them, and it'd generally be around a week to do a task. And then sort of from there, I would just build up this, like the how we used to do like the wall sizes on a InDesign document, and we'd sort of drop the pictures in and whatnot, and then
yeah,
sort of all my notes always referenced that final image, and I would always build upon that final image at every tutorial review. So in a way, if I ticked off all the images that I'm putting on the wall, then my layout and my presentation's
mm,
complete in a way. And I think this
yeah,
worked quite well.
yeah,
I got a lot of tasks done. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was not being able to sort of disconnect from the studio life, and because that's quite a big one, isn't it?
mm,
When you sort of leave uni, you're still sort of thinking about uni, and it's finding that sort
yeah.
of
I mean,
rest.
absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of it's tricky to distance yourself from work sometimes. I think,
Mm,
but you've got to sort of remind yourself that it's healthy and it's also productive to rest.
yeah,
Because you could stay up all night and you could eat rubbish, and but in the long run, you're gonna burn out, and burnout's a real thing,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work really. You gotta work how you need to work, how your body, you gotta look after
Mm.
yourself, and there's yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's
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 definitely the
important.
worst thing, isn't
Yeah,
it, when you get a burnout and you're just sort of just done for say like 2 days or something, and
yeah, yeah,
that's it is a real thing that happens, and a lot of people just sort of brush over it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it
yeah.
happens." But how did you sort of claim
But
that
what's good?
time away?
Um, I sort of I just shut everything down. So if I knew okay, I'm at my desk all the time.
Mm.
So I know, like, okay, what's the opposite to that? Well, that's going outside, isn't it? And walking, moving your legs, and
Yeah.
So I made sure I did that really, and just get out. Basically, obviously we can't do that as much now, sadly, but just going for a walk, and incubate. It's still working as well. Like, I mean, like, we've both watched 30 by 40.
Oh
Great
yeah. Yeah.
videos, and he brings up incubation, which I think is brilliant.
Mm.
It is. It's kind of it's helping you in a healthy way, because you're going for a walk, and then also you're working out problem in the back of your mind. So it's
Mm.
valuable for your work as well. So there's things like that, that are really good for you. Um, I try and do that to stop me burning out. Yeah, and it
It
normally
was it
works.
was a weird one for me. I think I joined sort of jiu-jitsu and whatnot, but then I'd always sort of find myself trying to chase down the lessons to like finish the work to get to the lesson in a way. And I think mentally it sort of pushed me
Right.
to do the work faster, so I could get to this lesson on time. But then in
Yeah.
the end, like towards the end of third year when it's just manic, I sort of had to cancel jitsu to one session a week. But that was a really good
Yeah.
disconnect for me to actually just go there, throw some people and just come
Mm.
back. you know.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was
I mean, another one for me is playing violin. Like,
yeah.
that's a big one for me. Like, I mean, I used to play in a pub. Obviously, can't now, but we do it on Zoom every Thursday, and that was sort of a thing that I had
Mm,
in my week that I knew I wouldn't cancel, and I have that thing that I used every week,
yeah.
and that's sort of that way. I've got to get on my work before I can do that. So it's the same similar thing, really. You just work
Mm.
until you know to that deadline. So yeah, that's what worked for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's quite a good sort of a way to cancel out the stress, isn't it? Book something in once a week that you know you've got to go to. Maybe it's like a spa day for
yeah,
just a few hours a week. Like I wouldn't mind doing
yeah.
that after uni.
Self care.
Just go,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that would have been great. Yeah,
Just like if you know
after
it's at
every week. Yeah,
like 3 o'clock on a Thursday, you're mid review and you're just like, yeah, sorry guys, I've got to go. I've got my spa day booked in. You're gonna have to wrap this up now. I'm shooting off.
spa. Then I got therapy. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's important, especially when in reviews when you're taking these hits.
yeah,
Um, you know,
the
and
big
that's a whole
hitters.
thing in itself, isn't it? The big hitters, and you've got to be able to deal with that in a healthy way, and
Mm.
take it on board, and then you know, and then disconnect from it. So that's another big skill.
I mean,
Yeah,
uni wasn't always
but it's
that
all good.
stressful, was it? Yeah. I mean, we had a few holidays out of them, didn't we?
Yeah,
I mean, we paid for them, but
yeah,
like, it was
yeah, yeah. But they were
like
good though.
yeah,
Yeah,
like we had Edinburgh with
Amsterdam was
the
good. That was good.
yeah Amsterdam,
Yeah, that
Edinburgh.
was fun. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
And
that's
that's the
an
other thing. Like, yeah, like traveling. You know, it's it's perfect for just learning about buildings.
mm,
Like, I mean, you can look at all the drawings you want, and however detailed they are, but you won't understand the building until you're in there,
yeah
and you can
until you
smell
just
it,
see the real
and
thing.
you see it. Yeah, that's it. That's how you understand the building is go and see it and
It's
be
like
inside
it's
it.
like there's
You know,
that, and then there's going too far when you do like a PhD on licking buildings. Like I've seen that one before.
that's it. Yeah, yeah. So that's when you cross the line, and yeah,
Just go on holiday to lick a building.
yeah. I remember.
Yeah. The
Whatever you're into.
it's like Sam brought this up last podcast episode where he was saying that a curse of being an architect is you go on a date with someone and you're constantly looking at the structure of the building
Mm.
or you're interested in the space around you. Not even Sam's like not even interested in his date or whatever. And I guess it's the same with going on holiday, isn't it? Like
Look at that trust. Yeah, that's it.
the
Yeah, but it's that's it. I mean, yeah, you got to put obviously it is for you got to sort of stop sometimes and actually look at it and say okay it's part of life, isn't it? It's not just materials and it's not just detail.
mm,
It's like how's it affecting human life? That's the important bit. It's like
yeah.
how's it affect people?
And I could just imagine it now. Like you're going on holiday to like Ibiza or something, and you've got the swimming pool in front of you, and then all of a sudden you see, a new structure going up or something. You're like, oh yeah, lads, let's go for a drink. Oh yeah, give me like 5 minutes. Just gonna go lick that steel structure over there. Be back in a bit.
Yeah, I just don't know why someone would do that though. I just don't get it. Like,
I think it
lick
was
loads of buildings.
so they licked the building and then they got the bacteria off their tongue, put it in a petri dish, and it was to test the amount of carbon absorbed by the building or something like that. I think. And it was like
God,
I'm pretty sure it was a real study. Yeah,
surely there's a better way of doing
yeah.
that. Surely,
I'm pretty sure I haven't just made that up on the spot, but I'm sure it happened somewhere.
you should go and do it. Yeah.
Just go and test it out. Yeah.
When we're allowed to go back on holiday, that's what we can go and do. Go and lick buildings.
God.
Oh God. Yeah.
But yeah, and I think
That's what I know, and I'm gonna do.
Just gonna go lick buildings now. Well, yeah, and I think on that note we'll wrap the episode up there. So thank you very much, Connor, for joining me. It is a great discussion talking about licking buildings for the past half hour. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.
Cheers. See ya.